Video number 2, we're just going to jump right into the questions. Tell the YouTube order to go fuck himself and start right off the bat. We're going to start with Mr. I Can't Snipe, and he has 2 questions. One I already answered, though, in the prior video. But the first one was, when do you know when it's time to ask your significant other to marry you? And number 2, I assume he meant what and not why are your thoughts, but what are your thoughts on the Final Fantasy remake now that we have some combat gameplay to look at? I mentioned that in yesterday's video. I'm excited. I can't wait to play it. It looks fucking good. But getting back to his original question, when do you know it's time to ask your significant other to marry you? Here's the reality. You know. There's no threshold, there's no indicator, there's no like button got to 100 or a meter or some shit. Every single person knows. You know when they're the right person. You know when things are lined up where you could financially afford it. You know when you guys are independently set, where you're not co-reliant on one another, where without each other you can't possibly afford life. You know. And it's hard to sit here and say, oh, that's not a good enough answer. But it really is. Every couple is different. Every couple has a threshold when they know that, oh, yeah, we're meant to be together. We're not going to spend our lives with anyone else. We are financially stable. We're secure with one another. And that's when you kind of plan it ahead of time. Now, there are couples who rush into things. Cool. If that's what they want to do, by all means. If they live a happy and healthy life, no problem. There are people who spend multiple years together. 10, 15 years. They get married. Then all of a sudden they're divorced within a couple years because they get tired of one another. That's just life. You can never truly know, like, oh yeah, this is the actual time. But each person and each couple is going to know on their own when it's time. Nobody's going to be able to tell them other than the 2 people who are in the relationship with one another. Next question from Jonathan772. In a separate comment, he actually said, thanks for all the laugh throughout the years. Again, Jonathan, I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed my content for all these years. So he asked his main question. I've been thinking for so many years about the right question to ask, but never could. So I'll just ask this. What are the names of your kids? If that's too personal, do you ever feel like you didn't want to do anything and just not motivated? And what helped you get motivated again? If you saw the last question to video number 1, you saw what I do for a living and why I'm so personally guarded. Kids' names are one of the easiest passwords to steal, without question. Now, none of my passwords have my kids' names, and none of them ever will. I know better than to use anything relatable to me as a password. So I will say this. I'm not going to reveal their names. I will reveal their nicknames, though, as to usually what people are calling them. Their nicknames so far that others have called them are Jax and Liv. That's all you're getting out of it. I'm sure people can kind of figure out where the names are going from that point, but you're not getting their names. And no, I will never ever reveal that in a password or whatever the case is. And the second question, in terms of motivation, I'm going to be honest, motivation is an internal thing. Each person has to be motivated by something on their own. I can't tell you what motivates you. I can only tell you what motivates me. And the reality is, my motivation is going to come from different sources. Sometimes you wake up and you're like, fuck, I don't want to go to work today. And then you realize, you know what? I got to pay some bills. So yeah, that's a pretty good goddamn motivator. Or some people go to work and they say, you know what? I'm fucking miserable today. I don't feel like doing work. That motivates them to go out and get a better job or look for a new position in life or whatever the case is. Some people say, I can't afford to live where I am. It's just too expensive. That's a motivator to get out. Other people say, you know what? I'm in a relationship and I'm just not happy. That's a motivator to get your ass out of that relationship. Motivation comes from so many sources. There's no one particular way where you'll find your motivation, but each person eventually is going to find something that motivates them to do something or not do something. Next question, and I don't even want to say this motherfucker's name. Suck me. Really? How do you get away with that shit on YouTube, man? Anyway, again, he wants to thank me. He's been watching all these years. I'm glad you've enjoyed the entertainment. I hope you watched all my videos and whatnot. But he's hoping that I make at least one more hipfire commentary here and there. But essentially, we'll see what happens in the future. He has 2 questions. What is your favorite memory from your time on YouTube? And regardless of how much you love your kids, what is the experience you're looking forward to the most as a father? My favorite memory on YouTube has to be, I guess, when I was first being asked to do commentaries for other channels. Back in years ago, there were a lot of networks that were starting up to be the next Machinima and whatnot, and the one that asked me to do content was Yaush. And through Yaush, a number of other videos saw that I have a certain personality, if you will. I could do certain commentary. I could say shit off the top of my head very quickly. So I started getting noticed to be asked to do top 5s, top 10s, top 3s, all kinds of bloopers and shit like that. So I would have to look back at those are my favorite memories when people started noticing some of the things I would do on YouTube, and then they would come over and ask me to do other kinds of videos. As far as what experience I'm looking forward to the most as a father, well, you got to realize they're going to go through phases in their life. Right now, the part that I'm looking forward to is the time where they sleep through the fucking night. After that, it'll be whenever they wipe their own ass. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not looking too fucking far in the future, man. I'm looking forward to when I don't have to do certain fucking things. Right now, I'm looking forward to sleep and not cleaning up asses. So that's the only thing that I'm looking forward to right now. Next question from Tom the Cat. He can't believe that the end of my channel is coming and started a new chapter in my life, so he's appreciative of that. Again, like I said, guys, thank you. I appreciate all the well wishes. So his first question, which Avenger Defender is your favorite? And second, you've always been sort of a role model, so I've always wondered what was your childhood like. I'll be honest, I don't have favorite comic book characters. I like the movies. I play the characters in video games. I mean, there's always someone cool that, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch this character, like with the Silver Surfer, Spider-Man. I'll be honest, I don't have a favorite. I like them all as a collective, so that's pretty much the best way I could describe it. But if I had to pick like this movie, that character, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. And as far as what was my childhood like, normal. I mean, for me, it felt normal because, I mean, that's what I grew up in. That's what I was used to. I mean, I grew up as with a single parent, struggled to get me through all my school and whatnot, and you know, there were times where it was rough, but overall, she did everything to give me every opportunity possible. I was lucky enough to be, you know, fairly intelligent. I came out a pretty decent egg in life. You know, I knew my math, and that's what helped me advance throughout my entire life was how good I was at math. It helped me excel in a lot of other areas, but overall, there was nothing in my childhood that I was like, oh yeah, this was not horrible. No, I had a single parent, I had some additional family, grandparents that helped out, obviously, and I lived, for me, what's a normal life. For other people, they'd be like, oh wow, that's different from what I did. Yeah, but for me, that's always what I thought was normal. Next up is Chase Burnette. He actually threw two questions in two separate posts, so I'll go through going one by one. First one, how do you feel knowing that you made thousands of people, including myself, lives happier just by talking into a microphone? And second, also, what is your favorite thing about life? I'll tell you now, it's humbling. It's an honor to know that my hobby gave people some joy in their life, whether it was my question and answer session, answering some difficult questions for people, whether it was just chatting with somebody in the comment section. Some people met me in video games and whatnot, and they were happy to see me. I believe there's going to be a future question where somebody mentions that he saw me in a game. I've seen plenty of people playing the games where they're like, hey, are you that J Loco guy who's from YouTube? So yeah, it was an honor for all these years to have people accept me for who I am, enjoy my brand of entertainment, enjoy my humor, and to put a little joy in people's lives, you know, because the whole point of YouTube is sort of an escape. It's to allow you a little bit of entertainment. It's allow your brain to relax from your normal day stresses and anxieties and give people relief. So if I gave somebody some joy, if I made somebody laugh, I feel like I've accomplished all that I wanted on this channel. I didn't need to make money. You guys know that. I never cared about the money when it came to this channel. So the fact that I made people smile and I gave them entertainment for a little while, I'm appreciative of that, and I'm happy that I did that. Next question. I have to show the whole fucking string of this because this just goes to show you that how my subscribers know me. So it starts with 789 Irvin. He wants to know, since you're leaving YouTube, would you ever hang out with your subscribers in real life, like meeting up with something? Then MI2 Lethal says, if he doesn't want to reveal his name, what makes you think he wants to do a meetup? And of course the reply, you mad bro. I mean, are you still on my Mission Impossible lines, motherfuckers? Now, here's the thing. I really wouldn't go out of my way to meet with people. It's not like I'm going to have like a J Loco con, you know, where, hey, everybody come meet me in Central Park on you know, this date or some shit like that. No. If I met someone, it would be somebody that I've played with for a long time. Maybe like Haytred. Me and Haytred are what, 3 hours away from one another? Literally had been playing with each other for 12 fucking years. We've known one another. Never met in person. Iris wants to hang out for lunch. I've known Iris, what? It's going back to Call of Duty 4, so that's another person for at least 12 years. So would I meet and greet with subscribers? Probably not. I can't imagine people are going to be like, hey, you want to meet up and whatnot? To me, it's an unfathomable thought. It's not something where I'm like, no, I don't want to meet with you assholes. It's just one of those things where it's like, really? You guys want to meet with me kind of thing? You know what I mean? Next question from TheDualTatorz, and he had to really go philosophical in this joint. Being a longtime viewer from Straight Up Knives days, I will use my last question wisely to ask the most daring question possible. What was the worst poop experience of your life? This is the level of fucking entertainment I have provided over the years. I can tell you right now, I've had a colonoscopy. Anybody that has had a colonoscopy understands the prep work that goes involved into having a colonoscopy. You basically got to clear your shit out for a good 12 fucking hours. So what ends up happening is you have to starve yourself, and then after you starve yourself, you have to take something that's going to force you to go to the bathroom incessantly. You are just spraying out your asshole for the next 10 fucking hours, and it is excruciatingly painful. Because the problem is, you're just basically it's constantly going, constantly pushing, constantly feeling burn of shit just flying out of your ass, which is all water. And at that point, you're like, oh, I just can't wait for this to end. You're putting everything down there. You're trying Vaseline to try to ease up the pressure and the pain. Oh my God, it is painful. It is not a one-time experience. It is hours and hours of pure pain in your ass. It fucking hurts. The colonoscopy itself, you don't feel shit. It's the prep work, man, that fucks with you. Next two questions from Clark R16. What is your favorite best video you made? And what was the moment you said, fuck this, and stop playing Call of Duty until the remaster? Oddly enough that you asked what is my favorite and best video that you made, I do have something coming up in the future. It's going to talk about what my favorite videos are, but I'll give you a spoiler now. It was one of my very first videos that I ever created, which was my everything montage. And eventually I'm going to talk about that, because I do have sort of a reflection moments, if you will. They're going to be coming up talking about my my career here on YouTube and all the videos that I was able to do. But the main one that I will answer your question with was my everything video. As far as when did I say fuck this and stop playing Call of Duty until the remaster, I think it was when, obviously after Ghost, I was just kind of tired. I didn't get burned down on Ghost. I actually like Ghost. I don't think it was a bad game. I just thought it was kind of average. It was kind of there. A lot of people didn't like it, and the constant berating of it was like, yeah, it's not fantastic. But when Destiny came out, and I started playing Destiny, enjoying Destiny for what it was, and Call of Duty started doing all that future warfare shit, it was sort of like a flip the switch kind of thing. It wasn't a fuck this. Anytime it's a fuck this moment, it's any kind of Treyarch game. But it was more like, oh, I like Destiny better. Oh, Call of Duty's doing future shit? No, fucking, I don't feel like playing that. The only time that I ever say fuck this is a Treyarch game. So now that Destiny's in a good place right now, but now that Destiny, you know, it's kind of, the staleness is wearing off. It's a little 5 years into this joint, and the wear and tear is starting to be felt. But ultimately, Call of Duty going back to Modern Warfare was like, yeah, I want to play this again. I want to go back and enjoy some of the games that I played when it first came out. Next question, I think that's Cryoh. Is that a C-R-Y-O-H? I can't fucking tell. You guys will be able to see that shit on the screen. Yeah, taking care of two demons. You have no fucking idea, man. So, he's going to ask, am I going to unban Epic Pineapple? He's already unbanned. I already told all the guys who are banned, you're more than welcome to submit videos anytime you want. So, if he would have submitted a video, I would have done it, but he didn't get a chance to do it before the final Hipfire commentary videos. I have a couple Hipfire commentary videos left, but he wasn't part of the group that sent them in. Next question from SheikahSheldon. Congrats, man. My identical twin brother and I were born on June 19th. Yeah, see, just one day apart in this motherfuckers. Anyway, what is your opinion on having to pay to play online on consoles? Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo say you receive free games each month with a subscription to their online service, but they're not really free, and it can be hit or miss based on the games. And then obviously he goes on to talk about how much it costs and whatnot, and basically how shitty Nintendo is. Here's the reality. Gaming companies, they're going to get their money from somewhere. They're going to nickel and dime us because they know we can. They offer a service with their servers, their online products that essentially would be free to all gamers if they didn't charge us, and they would have to make their money off of video games. So they figured, you know what, let's just kind of go after gamers with this price. Let's make them pay to play online. Essentially, they are saying it is a subscription. So in theory, they are correct. I don't like paying money. I don't like giving money for PlayStation Plus. But let's be honest here and call a spade a spade. It is a subscription. You pay for subscriptions to things. If you have a subscription to Pornhub, you pay for it. If you have a subscription to Sports Illustrated, you pay for it. So to sit here and say that, oh yeah, we're paying for a subscription, why are we paying to play online? That's the reality. You're going to pay something to these companies. Next question from Phoenix21. What is something you just can't understand? That's like from the fucking music. Here is something you can't understand. Why don't you just kill him, man? Gonna miss you. Been here since 2011. Damn, you've been here a long time. You must have seen every fucking video that I had. So, something I can't understand, how moderate Republicans can continue to support Donald Trump. I just don't get it. It's one thing if you didn't like Obama, if you didn't like Bush, fine. They were normal human beings. They were logical, they were compassionate, they were presidential. Just because you didn't agree with their politics doesn't mean that you didn't like the person or you thought they were a piece of shit. To be honest, I didn't like Bush's policies. I will call him a piece of shit, but he was a decent man. You're seeing that after he left office. Obama made mistakes, but you can honestly say he was presidential. Donald Trump? Come on, man. I mean, the evangelical religious people follow this man who does not go to church, clearly doesn't believe in God because he thinks he's God's gift to man. He believes he's God's gift to the world. He's been divorced 3 times, kids from 3 different baby mamas, yet they continue to support him and conservative values. The conservatives also talk about how they want their budget to be balanced and whatnot, and meanwhile he's added trillions of dollars to debt. So I don't get the party's ideological beliefs about how they want to be conservative, fiscally responsible, morally responsible, invoke religion, yet this piece of shit is who they follow. It just does not compute to me that they are so against Democrats that they're willing to listen and follow this piece of garbage. It just doesn't make sense. Much like Iris in the video number 1, Haytred's also throwing in some shit. His question is, can he come over? Yeah, sure, might as well come over. That way he can help me with some diapers in this motherfucker, man. Next question from Gam3crazy Scorpio, and here's the one that I mentioned. He was actually the one that saw me in a free-for-all game back on Ghost on PlayStation 3, which we're going to talk about in a second, because he says he gave me a run for my money. What do you think of the game's current creative direction? It seems like there's a lot of remastering, remaking games by time to keep newer games in development, but that's his opinion. You know, it's funny. I remember when I met someone playing the free-for-all games, and obviously that was you. And I had done a series, basically, I think it was called Free-for-all Adventures back when Ghost was still a thing, and then I forgot why I got away from it. But essentially, once I started getting away from the videos, I started posting up the games where I had the best scores, and I did them in chronological order of score. So obviously, it would always be like, if I went 30-3, and then the next video would be 30-4, the next video would be 30-5. So if you gave me a run for my money, that means it would have been at the bottom of the list. That means I would have went, like, let's just say 30-15. So if you gave me a run for my money, I would have only posted that after the fact because I was doing all the better videos before that one. So clearly you should be happy, although I know I never got to post a video, but clearly you should be pretty happy that you were able to kick my ass in the game for a good part so that I wasn't able to post a video, because if I didn't have a good enough score, I didn't post the motherfucker. But anyway, getting into your actual question, the direction of gaming, you know, there's a lot of remasters and remakes, and part of that is original content right now is very difficult to succeed. I mean, if you just look at the gaming landscape right now, people want bigger games, better graphics, better stories, and that takes a long time. That takes a lot of time to develop. If you think of all the successful games that are not sequels, that were just standalone games that didn't have any prior content, they didn't have a game that already existed, they didn't have a series that was already established. When was the last big successful game that you could say made a mark on the industry? There are not a lot. And a lot of times when there's new development, part of that is just trying to do something a little bit different. If you look at a game like, say, The Last of Us. Last of Us came out, what now, 6-7 years ago now? They're still working on the sequel to that game. So, yeah, it takes a while to make good content. Other games that have been successful, obviously Grand Theft Auto has gone on to pretty much destroy the world. Fortnite was more of a craze and a fad for Twitch streaming and whatnot. And I think a lot of games and developers are trying to capture that. But just look at the series that are surviving. Call of Duty, Battlefield, Gears of War is coming back. If a game has room for success, the developers are naturally going to continue to milk that success. And trying to do something brand new and innovative, and yet it falls flat, you get games like The Order 1887, which was on a PlayStation exclusive. You get Sea of Thieves that launched in such a shitty state, and over time it's gotten a little bit better, but it's still launched in a shitty state. It's really hard to capture the magic of a brand new franchise and series, so naturally these remasters allow companies to go back and redo all the things that gamers likes. do things that they thought were successes at the time, and they just say, oh yeah, you know, we remastered it, and then in the meantime, get to work on some other products. Because essentially, remember, they have to make money. They have to keep the lights on. They have to pay the bills. They have to pay the salaries of all their employees. So whatever's going to make money and gamers are going to buy, yeah, they're going to sell and push out to us. Next question from Nutella, and this is like life advice I'm going to be giving out of this one. He would say, would you say that you have overall enjoyed life and are more satisfied with what you've achieved and experienced in life? And would you know any advice on people not satisfied, unhappy with either work or social life? And here's the thing, I've been more than satisfied. I have lived an excellent life so far, and I continue to live an excellent life, and I hope that I'm healthy enough to continue to live an excellent life. Plus, I obviously have to be cared for 2 more fucking lives. So now I do have to live a much longer time. But yeah, I've been happy with my life. I have no complaints. There are mistakes that I made in life, but that made me who I am. There are things that I did that if you look back, you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. But again, these are things that create who you are. As far as offering advice to people not satisfied or not happy, the best thing I can say, aside from going to a psychiatrist to discover this, find out the cause as to why you're unhappy. It's a deep and it's a simple, but it's a deep question. Do you think there is something in your life that is causing you this unhappiness? What is it about life that is making you unhappy? Because I think part of satisfaction is finding the core of what the problem is. If you're anxious, if you're angry, if you feel threatened, if you're just generally not in a good mood, I think finding out what the cause of that is going to help you resolve how to improve that. Because let's just say you're not happy at home. Your parents are giving you a hard time. Why are they giving you a hard time? Or in school, you're being picked on, you're being bullied. Or you have bad grades, you're not sleeping, you have health issues. There are a lot of underlying factors that do cause unhappiness. And resolving those issues, resolving the root of the problem, is really what's going to lead to happiness down the road. So sometimes it may require professional help. Sometimes it may require psychiatric evaluation. Sometimes it may require speaking with a therapist or something like that. So I don't think offering advice on how to make someone happy is appropriate. I think discovering why you're unhappy in the first place and targeting the root of the problem is where people should start. And that's the best advice that I could offer people, is to really figure out what it is that's causing you your unhappiness, and then you'll be able to resolve that in the future. Next question from Dereck Flores, and he has a little bit of a typo right at the beginning. I think he says, do you think you're gonna let, so whatever the hell it is, but or are you gonna let your twins watch your videos, and if they ask you why you did it, will you answer that question for them? Well, it depends. I mean, by time they're around, I don't even know if YouTube's gonna be around. I don't know, because I'm not gonna post any videos for a long time. If YouTube's gonna be like, yeah, no, this motherfucker's inactive, let's close this channel down, which, by the way, guys, I'm never gonna delete my videos. I don't ever want somebody to think, oh yeah, I went and I closed my channel. No, it's never gonna happen. Never going to close my channel. However, if YouTube were to cancel my videos or close them for whatever reason, that's YouTube doing that. That wouldn't be me. But yeah, I mean, in the future, if they were to watch them, I would explain that when I started this, it started out as a hobby, and this was my personality when I started out doing these videos. So they're more than welcome to watch it when they're of age. But I can't imagine they're going to be like, oh yeah, my dad was cool enough to do YouTube videos. I highly doubt it. Next question from SarcasticAZN. Congrats on the kids. Thank you very much. Who would you like to see run in 2020, and what issues would you like to see them address? Well, on the Democrat side, they have like the whole fucking world running. I mean, I don't even know who the hell else at this point could run. Oprah? That's about the only other person that I was like, yeah, I want to see Oprah run, just because she would kick the shit out of all of them. But what issues would you like to see them address? Obviously, income inequality. I think it's a little ridiculous in this country that you can have trillionaires and then people living in poverty. Fixing Washington's political system, it's just awful. The fact that one person can prevent bills from being at least listened to by the Senate, it disgusts me. It really does. Global warming is obviously up there. The fact that nobody has addressed it since I've been in fucking grade school. Global warming has been a thing, never been addressed. Gun violence is obviously one of the biggest problems in this country that we face. It's just, it's absurd that now we're becoming numb to the fact that people are dying nonstop and we do nothing. One party says, oh, thoughts and prayers. The other party says, okay, we have to have background checks. The background checks aren't going to stop shit. There's a multi-pronged approach to gun violence, but again, that's never been addressed at all. the growing debt of this country, the fact that we continue to allow spending to go out of control, and the government continues to give themselves raises and trips and funding. Oh, it's just disgusting. I mean, there are so many things that I want to see addressed, but the reality is they say they're going to address it, but nothing ever gets done. Next up, from Dirty Dan 490, what will Bethesda have to do to redeem themselves, in your opinion? Nothing. They never will. Even if they got rid of every single asshole that works there, from Pete Hines all the way down, I still will not buy a Bethesda game, ever. Never gonna do it, never gonna happen, never gonna buy another product from them. Next question is from the C-Man. He has 2 questions for me. What is the one thing you would like to tell the YouTube audience? Oh, you guys already know the answer to that. And question number 2, will one of the last videos be a wrap-up on the Mission Impossible series? I hate to disappoint you guys, but I don't have any footage for Mission Impossible. Usually Mission Impossible, the gameplay dictates whether I do a Mission Impossible series, and as of right now, I don't have anything that I could really use. Next question is from Hurleyisdaman. Have you ever had any encounters with racism being a minority? Do you think cops target minorities and treat them differently compared to white people? And finally, do you think any New York sports team will win a championship again in your lifetime? Well, the last one's easy. It'll probably be the Yankees. All the teams that I like don't fucking win. Well, with the exception of the Giants. The Giants, they were able to win some Super Bowls during Eli Manning's years. And obviously, when they were in the 80s, I got to see the Mets win in 86. Who knows if they'll ever fucking win again. The Rangers won 1994. They're rebuilding. Maybe they'll build into a super contender. Who knows? And as long as the Knicks have Dolan as a fucking owner, they're never going to win. They've never won in my lifetime. But as long as Dolan continues to own the Knicks, they'll never win. So as far as your first 2 questions, encountering racism, not directly, but indirectly. And what do I mean by that? Directly is when someone outright calls you the N-word, calls you a derogatory term. That's never happened to me directly. Indirectly is when you're walking on a street at night, people cross the street because they see a minority coming, or they see you sitting on the train or the subway, and then they see a white person sitting, and they won't sit next to the Spanish person, they'll sit next to the white person, even if there's less room next to the white person. Little things like that. Directly, it has never happened, but indirectly, all the time. You get used to seeing it. And you know when someone is like, yeah, let me just not be next to that particular person. They don't outright say it, but you can see the process in their brain occurring. Now, the second part, do you think cops target minorities and treat them different compared to white people? I come from a family of cops, so I understand what cops go through on a daily basis. I know exactly what they need to do. And here's the reality when it comes to police. The majority, overwhelming majority of police, they do things the correct way. It's the bad apples that we see on TV that give cops a bad name. If you look at all the cops in New York City, you're going to see that the majority of them uphold the law. They enforce safety. But you get the assholes like the one who put the chokehold on the guy in Staten Island who don't deserve to be part of the force. You see cops pulling over black people and automatically pulling their guns on them in some of these southern states. Yeah, those are racist cops, and they give cops a bad name. So do I think all cops target minorities? Absolutely not. I think there are a number of bad apples that give cops a bad name. And those bad apples are obviously going to be the outlier, and they're going to be publicized more because these are the people that are supposed to uphold the law as opposed to breaking the law. You see cops who shoot first and ask questions later. You see cops who do something and without a body camera, they present a different story than what actually happened. Yeah, these pieces of garbage do not belong on the workforce. And the people who are in charge of them, such as the police chiefs and captains, people who are also in those same boats of being racist, they allow their towns and cities to do things like that. But big cities like New York, San Francisco, Dallas, Chicago, the majority of their forces are not racist. They don't target minorities. However, you do have to understand that minority neighborhoods do have some of the highest crime rates. So yes, there is a balancing act. Cops do understand that when they do go after minorities or they do suspect a minority, there is potential for danger. But at the same time, you're also going to have cops that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing and that give cops a bad name. All right, we're going to cut it here for video number 2. But yes, there are more questions still coming. If you haven't seen your question, it will be coming. Trust me, I'm getting through all of them chronologically, so we're going to go through these one by one. Also, I know there are a number of people that have wished me well. We're going to get to those posts as well, probably in the final video, just to show some of the people that did wish me well. That way I can thank everybody that had the opportunity to at least leave a comment on that particular video. So for now, as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit, and stay tuned. We're going to have part 3. Still going to keep rolling and answering all your questions.